Welcome to this tutorial on using Desire to Learn for students at UNB. So the first thing we'll do is go up at the top of the screen here under our gray mini bar, and we'll look at the My Home button. So the My Home button here, anytime you press that, it's going to bring you back to your home page where all of your courses here are listed. Now there's a Select a Course option here, so if I click on that, what it does is it brings up a list of all the courses that I'm currently enrolled in. So if you notice, this first little course has this little orange pin next to it. So what you can do is you can go in next to any of your courses on the list and pin them. So if I just go to where the little pin icon is and I click on it, it turns it this orange color. So if I just refresh my home page here and I go back in under the Select a Course, you'll notice that the course that I just pinned here all of a sudden gets to the top of my list. So we do encourage students to go on and pin the courses that they're taking within this term, because it just makes it easier for you wherever you are in the system. You do have access to your mini bar here. So if you're in a discussions in one course and you want to go to another course, you can just click on this Select a Course, and then you'll have your courses that you're taking this term pinned here, so they'll always be the top 5. So it's a best practice that we definitely encourage. Now over here we have our little messages alerts here. So this is any email that you have within Desire to Learn will be displayed, or any notification that you get about email will be displayed here. So as you can see, there's this little red circle right in here. So if I click on that, I can see that an email came in today. So if I click on this, it brings me into my messages here, so I can see that Kevin here sent me an email today about a meeting. So if I click on this, it'll bring up the message here that just says, don't forget about the meeting today at 3 p.m. at the sub. Alright, so I can go back to the My Home page. So the second notifications here is for updates. So anytime your instructor creates a news item or a news announcement within Desire to Learn, you would get that notification right here in this updates alerts area. And this last little one here is a subscriptions alert. So what happens is anytime you reply or create a discussion post and you subscribe to that, it'll give you instant notification anytime another student goes and replies. And then we've got our posting or our personal information here. So what we can do is when we go under our testing student account here, we can go in under our profile, and this is where we would go to add a picture of ourselves. So we can just click change picture and add that photo of ourselves. We can also provide some nickname, hometown information, social networking. So if we wanted to show other students our Facebook account or Twitter, contact information, any of that information you can put here. Now, one thing to keep in mind about this is it is public information for the students that are in the classes that you're currently enrolled in. So just keep in mind it is public information. So if you don't want other students to see this information, just leave everything blank. And the last thing we'll talk about is under your account settings area, we can go in under the email option here, and we have the ability here under the forwarding options right here to forward to a personal account. So if I just put in, for example, my gmail.com was my Gmail account, I have the ability to forward my Desire to Learn email to my Gmail or to my Hotmail or to UNB, whatever email client I use the most, you can forward to. So just two things to note about Desire to Learn email is it's different than your UNB email. They are not the same email. That's the first thing to keep in mind. And the second thing is it gives us 3 options here, what to do with the message, the original message that came in to Desire to Learn. Should it be forwarded and deleted from the inbox folder, which we definitely do not recommend. We recommend that you choose one of these two, to either forward and mark read or forward and mark unread. So one of these two. Now, what happens is if, for example, I'm taking Arts 1000 and my instructor in Arts 1000 sends me an email and I have it forwarded to my Gmail account. So what happens is when the instructor in Arts 1000 sends it in Desire to Learn and that email gets forwarded to my Gmail account, I could read it in Gmail, but I can't reply to it from Gmail. I actually have to log back into Desire to Learn to reply to that email, because Desire to Learn does not accept emails coming in from external clients like Hotmail and Gmail and UNB email. So just keep that in mind, that if you do forward your email to a personal account, you have to log back into Desire to Learn to reply to it. So I'm just going to cancel out of this here, and we'll go back in under our home page here. And so just a few other things I'll talk about here before we go into an actual course is under the help area here. If you ever have browser issues or any issues within Desire to Learn, you can do a system check. So it'll check your Java and your browser just to make sure that everything is all up to date, and we'll let you know if it's not. The second site here, UNB Desire to Learn Resources website. This is where you can obtain some student guides. We have our Twitter feed embedded, and we also can keep students and instructors up to date if there's ever a Desire to Learn outage. This is the page that you would go to keep up to date on what's going on. There's a help desk get training link here. Again, there's a link here to our Twitter feed, so if you do have Twitter, feel free to follow us. We do keep everyone up to date on news and information, especially again with regards to outages. And there's a help for students here where you can get some printable guides. And then this email all courses. So we talked about email just a few minutes ago. And one thing I do want to point out is that if we go under this email all courses, what this does is it shows us the email from every single course that we're enrolled in. So if we're taking 5 courses this term, all of the email from those 5 courses will show up in this area here. However, if I go into, for example, I go into this training course that I have pinned, and I go under my communication button and under email, which is the link to the email for this course, what it does is it filters by this course. So as you can see, that email that was on the home page from Kevin isn't here because it's only showing me the email that was sent to me from within this course. So that email from Kevin came from one of my other courses. So just keep that in mind, that if you ever see up here under your folder list that it shows you have maybe 1, 2, or 3 emails in your inbox and you do not see them here under this area, it's because it's only showing you the emails from students or instructors sent within this course. So just go back to your My Home page and then click on this Email All Courses button here. Now the logout here is really important too. I'd like to talk about that just for a second, is that when you log out of Desire to Learn, it does not in fact log you out of the UNB portal. It only will log you out of this instance of Desire to Learn. So what happens is if you're in a lab, a computer lab, and you log out of Desire to Learn and then walk away, and another student comes and signs into the UNB portal, they will have access to your portal information if you don't log out. So that includes your email, your e-services, and your Desire to Learn account. So please just make sure that you log out of your portal as well as Desire to Learn. And so what we can do now is we can actually go and log into one of our courses. So I'm just going to go into this training course. And so we'll just talk about a few things here. The content browser. Anytime your instructor adds anything to the content section, which is right here in Desire to Learn, it shows up here under your content browser. So if, for example, like the syllabus, there's a folder here for the syllabus, well, what we can do is we can click on that, and there's a little link here to the syllabus. So if I click on this, it'll open up the syllabus here in PDF form, so I can go on and read the syllabus here. And so one thing I do want to mention is if we go back to our course homepage, you'll notice that the content browser here remembered that I went into the syllabus. And so that's what it's displaying here. So if you want to get back to where all your folders were located, there's a little home link here. So if I click the home, it'll bring me back here and show me these week 1 and week 2 folders here. All right, so the library resources widget here, this is where if your instructor has any files on reserve with the UNB libraries for the course online that's linked into Desire to Learn, they'll be available here. So you'd have your subject and course guides here. Any course reserves, if they are applicable, will show up here. And it's best to consult with your professor to see if there are any library reserves. Then the updates area here. So the updates is going to show, for example, we have 11 unread discussion posts that we can go on and read. If your instructor created any Dropbox assignments or quizzes for you, they would show up here under the updates. The news is basically the announcements area that your instructor can go on and post items for. So for example, there's a little welcome message from the instructor here. So again, just keep your eye on this because this is where your instructor is going to be posting any news items that pertain to your course. And then the calendar just shows you, for example, today's Wednesday, October the 2nd, and we can actually click on this little action arrow here, and it'll show us like the list of events for the month. And then you can see here upcoming events. There's nothing listed. However, if your instructor did create any discussions with any due dates or Dropbox items or quizzes with due dates, those dates would show here in the calendar. Okay, so if we go back here, what I want to do is the second button here at the top is content. So if I just click on content, what it does is it brings me here into the content area. So I can click on these individual folders. So I can click on, for example, the syllabus folder, and it'll show me the syllabus or week 1. It'll show me the files that are in this week 1 folder or this week 2 folder. And if I click on the table of contents here, it'll show me everything that's within the course. So again, if I go into the syllabus, I click on this. What I can do is over on the left-hand side of the page, there's this little side panel here that you may not be aware of. So if I click on the side panel, it'll show me the items within this folder, and I can actually go up here and I can navigate to other folders. So I can go to week 1 folder here and click on any of these files, or week 2. And I'll just minimize that. So the side panel is just it's a neat little way that you can navigate the content that you may not be aware of. And you can also, if we scroll over here to the right hand side of the page, you can actually go to the next or previous items within content as well. And if I scroll down, I can actually send items here. I can go and I can download any item. So if I want to download the syllabus to have on my computer or to print off, I have the ability to do that. I can send it to my binder. A binder is an app that you can get from the iTunes store for free, and you can house some of your course files within your binder. And so if we go back here under the course homepage, that's pretty much the information that you would need to know about navigating content. So if we go in under what's called the assessments area, this is where you're going to find all of your assessment items. So for example, your Dropbox, which is Desire to Learn's name for assignments. If you ever have any grades on Desire to Learn, they would be available here under grades. Your quizzes, the same thing. If your instructor ever set up any self-assessments or surveys, they'd be available here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the Dropbox, and I'm going to show you what it's like to hand in an assignment as a student. So what we can do is go under the Dropbox folders here. I can go under the Chapter 1 assignment here, and all I need to do is I've done my assignment outside of Desire to Learn. I did it in Microsoft Word, for example. Well, I can go on here, and there's a little Add a File section here. So if I click on Add a File, I can go and add a file from these areas. So there's My Locker, which is available either within your courses or on the home page that you can upload your file to within Desire to Learn. If you have a group locker set up in Desire to Learn, you could use that. And you can just ignore the ePortfolio unless your instructor uses the Desire to Learn ePortfolio. And the My Computer is the default that's already selected. So all we have to do here is just press this little upload button here, and we can actually go in under the desktop of our computer and find a file that we've been working on that we want to upload. So for example, I can just go in and pick any old file here. So if for example I want to upload my file example PDF here, I can select that. I can press the open button, and then I can just go here, and it puts it here within the files to upload area. And then I can just scroll down to the bottom here, press the add button, and it'll add it to the queue here. But just remember that after you put it in here, you do have to go down and press the submit button. So when I press the submit button, it says here that I get this confirmation email that was sent successfully. So anytime that you upload a file into the Dropbox area in Desire to Learn, it will send you a confirmation email. So that's your proof, your receipt that you did successfully hand it in. So if I just press the done here, I can see I've got a email notification here right away letting me know that I have a new email, and I can check my Dropbox submission receipt. So if I go in under my email here, it actually won't show it to me right here, which is because it shows it for the training course. But what I have to do is I can just go here under my all messages, and it will show me my Dropbox submission receipt right here. So it's just a little email to confirm that the Chapter 1 assignment has received your file submission and the date and time. So if your instructor ever came to you saying, you know, I didn't receive your assignment, well, you can show them this as proof that you did successfully hand it in. Okay, so what we'll do now is we're going to go in under the communication. And so this is where you're going to find your chat, the class list, the discussions, the email, the groups, and the news tools. So we'll go in under discussions first. And when you go into the discussions, you're going to have your forums and your topics set up here. So if, for example, I go in under my class project right here, I can go in here, and there's a Kevin's video project here. So if I want to go on, I can actually go on. I can watch this video right here if I wanted to, and I have the ability to reply. So if I want to reply to a thread, I just go on, I click the reply, and then if I just scroll down here, I have the ability to go on. I can get rid of all of this if I want to, and go on and type in my reply right here. Oh, so I'm just going to type in my reply. Great video. So I'm just going to type in my reply here. And just one thing I do want to note is that there's this subscribed to this thread. So this is automatically checked off. So it'll automatically subscribe you to any thread that you either create or reply to. So if you do not want to receive notifications about this in the future, you would just unselect this. But the default is that it automatically does subscribe you. So I can just press the reply, and I get this great video, Kevin, here that I just posted. So I've successfully replied. So I can go back here under my discussions list here, and I can view in any of these. So what I can actually do is go in under this Chapter 2 topic, and I have the ability to start new threads as well. So I can go in here and start my own thread or my own topic within here. So I can just put in, you know, my thoughts on Chapter 2, and then I can type in here and put I thought it was great. Now the other thing I want to note about discussions, if I scroll over here, I can click this little icon here with these three little circles, so it gives me a few more options here. And this insert stuff is a really handy little button that if I click on it, it allows me to go on and search, for example, YouTube. So I can go and search YouTube for videos. I can search Flickr for some photos if I want to. I can insert links. So insert any kind of a link to a web page, or I can enter any embed code. So if I get embed code from any videos or files, I can enter that in here. So that's the insert stuff button, and then it allows you also to insert images and some quick links as well. So that's just one thing that a lot of students would like to have access to that you may not know is there. And so once I created my little my discussion here, I can just press the post button, and it just says thread was successfully created. And we've got this my thoughts on Chapter 2. Now the only other thing I'm going to show you within the discussions area is if I go in under the settings area, if you ever want to see which discussion messages that you replied to, what you can do is you can go in under the discussion settings, and you can actually change your view from the grid view, or from the reading view, sorry, to the grid view. So if I change it to the grid view, what I can do is I can scroll down and I can press the save button. And when I go in under, for example, this Chapter 2 discussion topic here, I can go in here, and if I just scroll down here, it'll show me all of the messages that have been replied to here and who's replied to them. So you can go on, I can see as testing student, I went on and replied to this one. So it just gives you a more threaded, I guess, list, less of a blog style, and more of a threaded style list of the messages. So if you want, you can go on and you can use this grid style. However, if you prefer the reading style, you can switch back to that. And if you would like to switch back, again, you just go under your discussion settings and you would just change it from grid view back to the reading view. And we just scroll down and press the save button. And that's it. And so if we go back in under the communication, I do want to talk about something called the class list. So the class list is where you can go on and view all of the students within your course. So if you do want to email any student in your course, what you can do is you can go in. So if, for example, I wanted to email Chester Copperpot or Ann Gables, maybe Ann Gables, I have the ability to go on and just put a check mark here next to her name, and then I can go down to the bottom of the page here and press the email link here, and it puts their email in the BCC. So just as a blind carbon copy here, which is a secure way of sending email, so that if you're sending the email to multiple people, they won't see each other's email addresses. And then you can just type your message here. So I can just put in, hello Ann, don't forget about our meeting at the sub today at, and then you just press the send button at the top and it'll send that message successfully for you. Okay, so that's the great thing with Classlist is you can go on, you can see the other students within your course, and you can contact and keep them informed. The groups button here is also quite handy if your instructor does use groups within Desire to Learn. This is where you go and you would see either what groups that you are enrolled in, or if your instructor has set up your groups for self-enrollment, you would go in under the groups area here and you would see which group that you're enrolled in. So I can see here with my groups I'm enrolled in, for example, group 1. So so it's just a way that you can go on and see which group that you're currently enrolled in. The resources here, you can go in and check out your class calendar, the checklist, the glossary, the links, and the locker link here. So this is where you would go to find, for example, your locker, where you can upload files within the system. And then finally here, there's our help, which is also available on the My Home page as well. So this is where you can get any help for students or instructors here on Desire to Learn. And so we'll just go under our course homepage. And so this concludes the tutorial on navigating Desire to Learn for students.